Asking the right questions is important in any type of setting. This is why in this video I'm going to teach you how to ask the right questions so you can get better answers. Hello, my name is Roberto Avila. I'm a pre-med student my senior year of college in the US. In my experience in college, asking the right questions is extremely important, not only for a lecture, but you also want to have the right information when you want to know what classes to sign up for, what programs you can apply to, and how to pay your tuition. So you want to have the right information. This is why in this video I'm going to share with you 5 tips to ask better questions. Let's get started. Offer a solution when you ask a question. So what I mean by this is when you're in lecture and you want to ask something to your instructor, try to offer a solution to the question that you're asking so that the professor knows that you are already trying to get to the answer and that you don't want them to do the work for you. For example, if you're in an anatomy class and you already have seen this material but you're not too sure about something, let's say you don't know where the duodenum is, and you want to ask the instructor but you don't want to sound dumb or something, you should say like, I think this is the duodenum, am I right? Or you just point and say, is this the duodenum? So I guess those are like kind of examples of how you can offer a solution to the question that you're asking. Because if you say, can you tell me where's the duodenum? And the professor might say like, man, you have already seen this before. How is it possible that you don't know where the duodenum is? I guess this is just a way for you to show the other person that you have already thought about this before and that you don't want them to do the work for you. You just want a clue, you just want something extra for you to know the answer, but you don't want them to do the whole thing. Number 2, ask follow-up questions. In the article, It Doesn't Hurt to Ask, it is explained that we usually promote ourselves when we meet someone new. This is why when you ask follow-up questions to what the other person is talking about, you will be perceived as more responsive and the other person will like you more. I don't think this is only for when you want someone else to like you just because. This is something important to do in a professional and educational setting because you want the other person to have a good impression of you. So for example, if you're thinking on asking a letter of recommendation from a certain professor, you will probably want to have the time to have a conversation with that professor and not only talk about yourself, but be interested in what the professor is saying. So to do that, make sure to ask follow-up questions to what the professor is saying. In that way, the professor will know that you're paying attention to what they're doing and what they're interested in, and this would increase your chances to get a great letter of recommendation. Number 3, write down your questions before asking. I think this is important when you have to gather information for a certain topic. So for example, you want to know about alternative ways to pay your tuition and you have multiple questions and that you want to ask the person from the financial aid office. So what you should do is write down all the questions that you have, and I will suggest just open the notes app in your phone and use those checklists for every question. So list, I don't know, 10 questions that you have about financial aid and tuition, and once you get to the financial aid office, you will ask all those questions and then you will have the check marks. Once you have asked a question, you can just press and checklist one of them and then you have all the other ones left for you to ask. So in that way, you are also kind of organized when you ask the questions, and you can also do that beforehand and organize the questions in kind of the same topic within the realm of questions that you have. So list all the questions with the checklist, and then once you ask the question, you just check it, and then you have all the other ones left, and then you can continue to ask all those questions. And if you have even more questions arising from the ones that you just have asked, that's better for you because you want to gather as much information as you can. And this takes me to the next point. Number 4, don't expect others to give you all the information that you need. It doesn't matter where you are or how knowledgeable is the person that you're asking the question to. You will never get all the information that you need just by asking basic questions or just by telling them to give you information. What I have found in all this time in college and other external things is that people will never give me or give you all the information. So this is why you have to be prepared with questions and have them and write them beforehand, or even in the place. Don't be afraid to ask the questions. So just ask as many questions as you can, because the person who you're asking the questions to most likely are getting paid to answer those questions and to help you and to do their job. So for example, you are thinking on getting your driver license or getting a new ID, or maybe you are wondering on how to apply to college, or if you can take a different class in another college. So those are different type of examples of things that you will have to ask questions about, so that you can go ahead and do them and be prepared for that. Let's say that you are applying to college and then you find yourself in the phase in which you have to answer questions about income and all that stuff. So you probably have a parent who lives in California, and then you have another parent who lives in Arizona, and then but you are applying to a university in California, and then you mainly talk about the other parent who lives in Arizona. Then the university will consider you as an out-of-state student, and you don't want that. And if you don't ask a question in regards to who parent to declare on the application, then you will find yourself paying more tuition because you didn't put the information of your parent who lives in California, who also is part of your income. This is why you have to ask as many questions as you can, because you won't get all the information. You don't want to have problems in the future because the other person didn't give you all the information that you needed, even though they knew the information. And this takes me to my last point, number 5. Don't be afraid to ask questions that seem illogical to you. So what I would suggest is to not feel afraid to ask the questions, even though they seem illogical or they seem too obvious, or maybe you think the answer will be a 100% no or a 100% yes. So I would go ahead and ask the questions anyway, because you cannot be completely sure about the answer. So you probably need an extension for paying for something in college, or paying for your bills or whatever, but you don't ask because you think the answer will be no. You cannot extend the payment, you will be charged a fee or something, and you don't ask it. But if you go ahead and ask it anyway, probably the answer will be no, but maybe you could get a yes, and they will tell you, yes, we can pause your payment for a little while and wait for you to have the payment, have the money, and then you can pay us without any extra fee. So don't feel afraid to ask those questions that don't feel as important to you, because maybe they will give you the most valuable information at the end. I hope this information was useful for you, and I hope you will use it in the future. I would like you to answer in the comment section below one tip that you know about asking questions. Please subscribe to my channel to get more information about pre-med, college, and topics like this in the future. Please don't forget to follow me on Instagram and turn on the bell notification so that you know when I upload new videos. Thank you very much for staying until the end, and I hope to see you in the next one.